Tonight, we're hearing from the newest justice on the South Carolina Supreme Court. Our Andrea Mock sat down with an exclusive one-on-one with Letitia Verdin as she prepares to take her seat. And she joins us in studio now with the details. Andrea?
That's right, JR. The South Carolina Supreme Court was founded back in 1868. But would you believe that in that long history, only 2 women have ever served as justices on the high court? Until now. I sat down with new Justice Letitia Verdin to hear about her path to the Supreme Court and what it means to be a trailblazer for women.
My father was a football coach before I was born, and he would always tell my sisters and me, you can't win unless you go on the field.
Born and raised in Seneca, South Carolina, Justice Letitia Verdin is from a family of educators. Her dad was a football coach turned principal. Her mom and sister, both teachers, but she took a different path.
I grew up in a small town. My family was not a lawyer family. We didn't have lawyers in our family.
At the University of South Carolina School of Law, Letitia found 2 important things: her passion for justice, wanting to defend children, and her husband, fellow attorney Chuck Verdin.
When I first got out of law school, I was a prosecutor, worked in the solicitor's office, and I largely prosecuted domestic violence cases and also crimes against children.
When Verdin was asked to run for family court judge back in 2005, she worried about balancing her family life, but her husband had no doubts.
My husband's always been my biggest supporter, bar none, and he said, let's go.
Years at the family court, working to give children a voice in difficult cases, gave Verdin purpose.
I will tell you, being a family court judge is the hardest, without doubt, and I don't think there's any question about that. It has given me some perspective.
After serving in the family court for 6 years, Verdin was elected to the Circuit Court in 2011 and then to the Court of Appeals in 2023. But she was watching as Justice Kay Hearn retired from the Supreme Court at the end of 2022. In 2023, lawmakers chose Gary Hill to fill her seat instead of one of the 2 female candidates, making the Supreme Court all men. What was your impression as a judge at the time, because you were on the bench, about us having an all-male Supreme Court?
Well, it was something I hadn't seen during my legal career that I could remember, or at least I'll say something that I couldn't remember during my judicial career.
Knowing women needed a voice on the high court and with support from colleagues, she pushed herself to enter the race.
I was encouraged by some folks to do it. I was encouraged by a couple of former candidates who are good friends, and got their blessing to do it.
On June 5th, Justice Verdin was elected to the Supreme Court by our state legislature with a unanimous vote. A moment she will never forget with her husband and twin boys by her side. You told me that you don't often get cool points with your sons, but it might have clicked with them the day that you were elected.
When they came to the State House last week, I think they didn't know what to expect. And they were just so overwhelmed by the process and meeting so many people, and just really thought the whole process was just really amazing. So after it was all over, they seemed to, for a brief moment, they even put me on their Instagram. They seemed to, for a brief moment.
And as she looks ahead to her place on the Supreme Court, this coach's daughter hopes other women watching will follow in her footsteps and get in the game.
If in any way my election encourages folks to get on the field who might not have done so before, then I'm absolutely thrilled.
Justice Verdin says she has been very surprised by the outpouring of support that she's received from the community, getting letters from both women and girls and total strangers. And on a side note, on the diversity of the court, right now, Chief Justice Donald Beatty is the only African American on the bench, and he will be aging off the court later this summer. JR?
All right, Andrea, thank you so much.